Hello, welcome. Thank you for joining us today. We are broadcasting live from Park City, Utah, where I am. Dill's in Vancouver. Lyle, I don't know where you are.
Boulder, Colorado.
Boulder, Colorado. Nick's in Arizona. And I think we have somebody in Oklahoma. Austin. Rohan, where are you?
I'm in LA.
In LA. And John, you're in Newport Beach, right?
Yep, Orange County, California.
Great. Thank you, everybody, for being here. We've been fortunate. I have a fortunate relationship with Adil, who's on the call here. I've known for several years, who introduced me and Family Office Insights to Geniusx, and Geniusx has been on the program once, and then here again today with you to share more details about what's going on. And we've been also very fortunate to have three people, one of the primary investors in Geniusx, and two collaborative relationships, one from Meta and one from Magic Leap. So thank you all for being here today. We can't hear or see you as a participant, but we encourage you to post your questions as they come to mind. We have a lot of people coming on today, so we want to get to as many as possible. And if there's anybody in your world or your network that would be interested in knowing more about what you learned today, we're most welcome to share, and we'll be sharing the contact information for the participants on the call today. So feel free to communicate directly. We're also going to be recording this and posting it, I think, to the Geniusx website. It'll be somewhere. We'll make sure you get the link, and please feel free to also share that with those that might benefit from what you hear today. So super excited to have you guys again today. And with that, I'm going to ask Nick to take it over and start introductions. So again, thank you all for sharing your afternoon with us. Nick, take it away.
Absolutely. So my name is Nick Janicki. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Geniusx. And a little background on me, my passion has always been in the overlap of education and wellness. So I started a company in 2009 called True Rest Float Spa. If you ever listen to the Joe Rogan podcast, he'll talk about sensory deprivation a lot. And what we're finding is tremendous benefits for both anti-anxiety and depression, to a point where we now have proven research showing that 60 minutes in a float pod with the lights off is equivalent to an antidepressant that lasts for up to 20 hours. And so when we began, when COVID hit, essentially my daughter went to Zoom school. It was a fairly atrocious experience. And I was in the process of talking to Joe Polish and Lyle Maxon, who are both co-founders of Geniusx. And we really decided, hey, there is a massive opportunity to redefine education, and specifically redefine education in the XR space. And for those that don't know, XR is kind of extended reality. It's sort of a mixed bag of virtual reality, augmented reality, and mixed reality. And then we were able to build this app called Retreat that we launched in the Meta App Store. We were proudly, not to steal Rohan's thunder in a little bit, but part of the immersive learning grant. And we're really excited to have Rohan on the call. But yeah, that's kind of how the company started. And obviously, later on in the presentation, we'll go through some of our traction points and where we see the future of this industry going with that mission statement. But I'll have Lyle kind of jump in and give his background.
Great, thanks, Nick. Yeah, my background is in what I call games for good. I was the co-founder of a company called Andromeda Entertainment, which is a virtual reality publishing group. We probably have 15 or 16 games and experiences now being published, mainly through Meta and PlayStation, but also through the fast-growing Chinese market with iQIYI, Huawei, Pico, and a variety of other headset companies. From there, I started a digital therapeutics company called Entheo Digital that's focused on essentially FDA-approved digital wellness tools for mental health. And that's my biggest focus is, as Nick said, kind of the intersection of wellness and education. That's where we resonate so strongly. and really allowed to create the foundation for this company, both with my publishing background and also experience design.
Adil, want to give us your background?
Honored to be here. I'm here, CEO of Unify.org, and just fundamentally have created over the last 10 years a series of global synchronized meditations. So typically on Peace Days and Earth Days and World Water Days, we end up getting somewhere between 10 and 100 million people per event. And so we've just been perfecting some of the technology, education, and sort of media assets that galvanize those kind of communities. So I'm really excited to be here with you guys.
Awesome. And we're very happy to have both reps from Magic Leap and Meta here, as well as the head of our advisory board, Jonathan Kronstadt. Jonathan, do you want to give us a little background on yourself?
Yeah, sure. Hey, everybody. Jonathan Kronstadt here, J-Cron for short, and spent the last 6 years as partner and president of a company called Kajabi.com, really leading the way in the creator economy for anyone who wants to market, sell, and deliver premium digital content behind a paywall, membership management, all of those elements. The platform today, having achieved a valuation of $2 billion, led by Tiger Global and others, is currently processing about $1.9 to $2.1 billion annually in GMV for the creator economy, and continues to grow. I have a board seat on the company, and so that's been my background up until then. And certainly understanding the way that the world learns and the way that we're now seeing these trends kind of come to an inflection point in the largest disengaged workforce we've ever seen, the need to train, the need to engage, all of those things have me more excited than ever about what we're doing at Geniusx. So glad to be here.
Amazing. Let's see here. Let's go with Austin with Magic Leap. I would love to get your background and kind of why you're involved with Geniusx and what's exciting for you.
Hi, yeah, so my name is Austin Giles. I have been involved in the augmented reality space, specifically AR, for about 4 years, mostly on the manufacturing and defense side. Recently joined the team at Magic Leap, and really excited because I am working with the go-to-market team to deliver value and see really where we can start leveraging software vendors like Geniusx to drive revenue. As a lot of people know, this market has been mostly technology and R&D focused and not so much revenue focused. And now we're deciding just in 2023 and 2022 to kind of go after that. So happy to be on the call.
Thank you so much. And Rohan Pandula with Meta has been a big advocate for us. He even bought us dinner when we were in San Francisco, and we shared some amazing desserts. And it was a good time. But Rohan, would love to hear from you as well.
Hey everyone, my name's Rohan. I'm developer strategist here at Meta. I've been here at Meta for about 5 years now. I was introduced to the folks at Geniusx about a year ago, and I love how deeply rooted they are in the concept of immersive learning. I've had the privilege to work with them, not because I can see how passionate they are about immersive learning, but also to see how they're revolutionizing it. Their platform is really like is a testament to the evolution of education, because not only is it possible to engage the next generation of learners, but also captivate and re-engage earlier generations that they may not have had the opportunity to. As some of you know, Meta's commitment to education is far beyond words. We've launched the Meta Immersive Learning Fund, which is a pretty sizable monetary and resource commitment to bringing learning to the XR space. We're not only just investing in technology, but like also the future of learning and really what's the boundaries of what's possible. And we really see Geniusx as being a big part of that mission.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. So we're going to go ahead and get started with the presentation. You know, all our partners and advisors, you're welcome to stay through it or jump off if you need to jump off. But let's go ahead and get started here. So Geniusx, we started just a little over 2 years ago, and we're going to kind of hit some of these key points here. And basically, one of the main problems we're seeing with training and educational systems are just the massive loss in effectiveness and scalability. So e-learning has an 85% dropout rate on paid courses and trainings, which is actually quite shocking. And learner engagement and confidence is at an all-time low. So when we formed this company, we really thought through some of these things in a great amount of detail, to the point where we're even using something called the Fibonacci or golden ratio sequencing for the story arc of courses, which just leads to massive engagement. And so we learned that even if a YouTube video is 15 minutes long, that's far, far, far too long for the beginning of a course. And these were all things that have never been tried before in a virtual reality space. We were one of the first apps to really have flushed out full courses in virtual reality. And we'll get into more specifics on some of the courses we have later on in this presentation. But we really wanted to have compelling learning pathways from Web 2.0, so existing content. And this could be an expert who had a book or had a course, and convert that into Web 2.0, or what we're calling fully immersive and spatial learning. And what we're seeing is artificial intelligence is fully penetrating the market at record speeds. We're starting to integrate these core components into our systems as what we're calling practice, score, and iterate, meaning you can now practice a skill with the AI, it can score you on that skill, and then you iterate the skill set. So this essentially is what we're putting into both the virtual reality meta side, the virtual reality, as well as the Magic Leap augmented reality, is these abilities to say, okay, we're now able to walk around a physical space, give a live training, and then practice, score, and iterate through that. So what we're seeing is the speed of learning and retention is 3 to 4x what we found in traditional classrooms. And these are all
Nick,
studies. Go ahead.
I just shot you a quick message. It doesn't look like your slides are moving on our side. There you go. Great.
Thank you, Lyle. And so
Of course.
basically, yeah, these are solutions from PwC, and these are independent studies done by PwC. So our mission is simple. It's building a benevolent future through technological solutions that have utility and longevity that uplift the human spirit, or as well as the human intellect. So we've right now developed 12 fully immersive courses, and we have 14 courses in development. So when we launched, we had 25,000 downloads in 90 days on the Meta Quest platform, and about 700K in revenue to date, which is quite extraordinary for a company that literally thought of this 2 years ago. So we say we're a leader in moving, converting, and enabling online and real-world courses and trainings into the future of immersive technology. So when you look through all of these courses, what you'll see is a combination of professional development and personal development skills. So we really are integrating that wellness piece. It's probably the heaviest part of my background. It's the heaviest part of Lyle's background, is really going, yes, we want to educate people. We want people to come out of everything we do with skills. We also want them to be better human beings. And one of my favorite Lyle quotes is, we're upgrading the real world you. I got it wrong.
The real world avatar that is you. Yes.
We're upgrading the real world avatar that is you. That's great. I say that like 1,000 times a day. And so you can look through these later on to deep dive. It's also on our website, retreatvr.io. And what we're finding, and this again comes back to the PwC skills, is 4 times faster training than in classroom, nearly 3 times more confident to apply the skills, nearly 4 times more emotionally connective, and 4 times more focused than their e-learning peers. So this is really extraordinary. My daughter used to go to a Montessori school, and one of the things that you realize is that as human beings, we need audio, visual, and kinesthetic learning. And typical online learning doesn't offer that kinesthetic aspect, which is that full spatial experience that we believe is going to be revolutionary. It is revolutionary now, and more so as we go. So I'm going to have Adil jump in and talk about why we're partnering with Unify. We're extremely excited to have Adil basically join our team and head up the sales funnel aspect. So the idea here is when we launch a course, we're leaning on Unify to market that course, now fully into Web 2.0. Meta has some exciting updates where they're able to take payments through Web 2.0. And so rather than just having to rely on the virtual reality market now, we can actually generate revenue from Web 2.0 and then convert that into virtual reality or augmented reality. So Adil, I'll have you take it from here on these two slides.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, so as I was mentioning earlier, we've been since 2012 been doing these things called global synchronized meditations. They kind of grew and grew and grew on these Earth Days and Peace Days and World Water Days. And typically, what we do is we build like a TV show on that day and engage different seers and saints and sages, mystics and influencers, and we're broadcasting to sometimes thousands of terminal locations primarily across social media. So our last peace event, I think we had 6,854 cities around the world doing these events, and so it's a kind of an engaged audience. It's really been just for the love for service to up-level consciousness on the planet, and just create a greater experience of peace for humanity. And a little pattern interrupt, a little signal with all the noise that's happening. But it kind of caught fire, and it's as it gets larger, it gets a little bit more cumbersome and wonderful. But we thought, what do we want to do to engage this audience? Our list is about 500,000, about 18% open rates, but our reach on primarily we made a big bet on Facebook early on, and built the audience really there, and grew it down to Instagram and YouTube, but primarily our audience is there, and that's where the events are engaged. And so a lot of these influencers we've worked with over the years is we've begun to develop courses with, and we ran an experiment. You can flip to the next slide if you want. We just we realized that a lot of our audience were kind of digital creators, so we started a course called Storyteller under a brand called Mystery School, and the simple idea was to create a omni-channel viral videos ad strategy. So we got really good at that, basically galvanizing people, these really emotional videos that are kind of 1-minute format, goosebumps to tears. And we thought, okay, let's apply those as ads and drive traffic towards this course and see if it'll light fire. And it really worked for us. It was amazing. And once that happened, and I think for us it was we 10x'd our revenue, which is great. And I think we turned around to meet the guys at Geniusx and are like, look, you guys have amazing content. You have 20, whatever, I think 12 or 14 courses in the can at the time, and a bunch more underway. And we thought these are exactly the types of people that our audience already are in love with. So why don't we bridge people? Why don't we launch these courses on Web 2 and bridge a portion of those people to Web 3 for a deeper immersive experience with Geniusx?
So Adil, I have to say, because I've experienced this, the word and the definition in delivering these storytellers is evocative. It just is an evocative experience across to a person, I think.
Oh, thank you, Arthur. Yeah, it's this whole art of being able to do goosebumps to tears well, moving someone deeply, and whether that's in the promotional experiences leading up to the event, but the event itself, the course itself. And so I feel like we share kind of that heart of being able to create transformational content with Nick and Lyle, and very similar intent. So we're kind of ready to onboard our entire audience into Geniusx, and are really excited about it, actually.
Awesome. So this is our Geniusx and Magic Leap partnership. And the key here is really about how to utilize artificial intelligence and augmented reality to corporate training at scale. Lyle, I don't know if you wanted to jump in a little bit on this slide, or you want me to?
Yeah, I mean, I would love Austin to jump in as well if we want to cue him up a little bit. But yeah, I mean, the main focus for us is essentially building out a pilot that we are very close to finishing and actually launching with Nick's former company, TrueRest. He does still own a few spa locations, so it makes it low-hanging fruit. And of course, they have a high turnover with employees. So it's a great use case. Essentially, it's all around training the trainer. So we're really focused on being able to essentially give a new employee a pair of Magic Leap glasses, and they go through a very experiential and personalized training experience with the actual spa location mapped, 3D mapped. So if they walk up to the cash register, it recognizes that. If they walk up to the different types of spa equipment or the float pod itself. So we envision this as being a highly effective solution for not just these types of spa businesses or even like retail training, but we have had some early discussions with Magic Leap around things like airlines and tourism boards, like the Tourism Board of Saudi Arabia, and what that looks like for training at scale. But yeah, Austin, if you want to kind of jump in, because if you want to talk specifically around enterprise training and how you could see the AI and the personalized kind of soft skills aspect of this being not only beneficial, but I think it's a new solution, because most of the Magic Leap solutions that we've seen to date has been very much focused on hard skills, kind of monkey see, monkey do training of safety equipment and things like that. But now we're able to extend into the personalized emotional side of things.
Yeah, thank you. As Lyle had mentioned, by far the biggest use case from an enterprise standpoint, both in VR and AR currently, is going to be the lack of skill within the entire industry, regardless of vertical. And so, when Geniusx had proposed an idea of taking AR and making it a lot more accessible through their digital avatars, mapping different spaces, we saw a huge utility here, because these types of solutions are actually looking to be implemented not 10 years from now, as we speak. Delta Airlines, all these other huge companies that we're currently in talks with are looking for this. And so it was really great to meet, Nick and Lyle, and have them come and really just talk us through their experience. And as Lyle has said, an emotional type of learning system rather than just a hardwired, here's your digital work instruction, here's how you operate a piece of equipment, which to date, I'll be fair, has been what we've been focusing on. And utilizing a predictive language model like a ChatGPT or a Bard changes the game entirely. Now you're able to converse and interact with something that is uniquely intelligent and not just pre-baked content on an actual device. And I think that completely changes the way we interact and learn, specifically from a training standpoint. So, just a few more comments on this. Is very impressive. I've been really delighted working with the Geniusx team on this, because this has very big ramifications on the training market today.
And we have a question from Rick Trout, basically asking, does your technology working through visual stimulation allow the brain to learn more and quicker at one time? And I would say the answer to that question is yes, but it's not just about the visual stimulation. It's about the combination of the audio, visual, and kinesthetic aspect of the training. So to really illustrate this, basically, let's say you're in a environment, a float spa, if you're not familiar with that, a massage place. And again, it's for training the trainer, right? So the idea is you can put on a pair of Magic Leap headsets, which I actually have right here, which are just very light, absolutely beautiful, well done. And basically a 3D avatar is going to pop up and take you through that entire process. So not only are you saving about 85% of the time that a trainer would normally take, that ChatGPT, to Austin's point, driven interaction can now actually practice with you in real time. So it's allowing the brain to really iterate as if you had an actual person there. So if you think of things like any kind of role playing or any kind of skill building where you would have to get in front of an audience for public speaking, this now can do with you in that real-time environment. But Austin or Lyle, if you wanted to jump in to add anything to that question.
Yeah, I mean, the whole model around practice, score, and iterate is, of course, a huge focus for us. So as Nick said, a really good example is something, training an employee on how to speak to a potential guest, or even sign them up for a membership. So now they could, hear the pitch, understand what they're supposed to say it back to the avatar. The avatar could score them in real time, say that you got a 7 out of 10. and you missed these 3 critical points, that you could then speak it back to them, and then you could iterate until you get a 10 out of 10 on all aspects of the training. So, you know, I think outside of the time saved on the employee side, it's also the fact that this is infinitely patient with you. And I will say also with VR and AR, some of the more critical aspects of why the learning is so accelerated is the embodiment aspect. Nick talks about kinesthetic. You now go from your fingers and mainly your thumbs being the entire point of reference for your experience to now your entire body is the controller. Your hands, your feet, your head all allow you to move around in physical space. So that level of immersion creates a very interesting and actually a novel brainwave state that scientists are studying called the ETA brainwave, that is essentially a higher frequency bandwidth than theta, and theta is typically where we retain the most information. So there's a lot of very interesting science going into what and why this is happening, but I think from just like a very novel or green approach to it, you could understand pretty quickly that you're hyper focused and fully immersed. You're not distracted by any outside stimulus. It's going to increase your ability to retain and use information.
Amazing. So what we're looking at here is the professional development market. And the professional development market is absolutely astronomically huge. It's a $345 billion market. The market is slated to grow alone by nearly $4 billion in the next few years alone. And essentially what we're looking at is a very micro segment of that market of 250 million early target market companies that are actively searching for immersive solutions for education and training. So to Austin's point, this isn't something we're looking at in 10 years. If the solution was available, these would be companies that would be actively purchasing and implementing these solutions today, not in 1 year or 2 years. So this is something we're very excited about. Specifically with Magic Leap, is completing the pilot and being able to start offering this to the world, and it's going to change everything very, very, very quickly. Obviously, Apple just released their Vision Pro. Lyle and I were texting each other during the announcement, and I wouldn't say we were sobbing, but there were probably single tears coming down one eye or something like that during this announcement, because what this does is it lifts, rising tides lift all ships. And so all this does is secure Magic Leap's position. It secures what Meta's been working on. And there's nothing but good that can come from Apple getting into the game, in my opinion. And we really believe, Tim Cook's mission is to basically replace a portion of smartphones and laptops by 2027, and potentially up to 80% of smartphones by 2030. I also see this replacing laptops, which is strange to me this wasn't mentioned, but I really see sort of the coffee bro not needing a laptop anymore, and pretty soon just being able to have a fully immersive device. So obviously, being Apple, they have partnerships with Disney, Unity, full tracking for hand, voice, the gamut. So for us, this is just very exciting from the standpoint of another big tech company getting into the game. Lyle, do you want to add any points around this?
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I'd say is the first bullet point we have there, which is this is their first major product release in a decade. I think we're just, the VR industry, or now in this case, this is more AR, or what we call mixed reality. It's usually very overhyped and undersold, but if you look at Apple's latest product release, which is their Apple AirPods, they're the 5th, just the AirPod division, which is what I'm wearing currently, is the 5th largest company in the United States. It does, I think, over $4 billion over what Uber does a year in annual revenue, something, I think it's a little over 20 billion. So I think that it's really important that no one understood why they would ever wear an Apple Watch. They had no use case for it. Everyone was like, why would I want to get my text going through my wrists? And now it's one of the most successful products ever created. I think that it's really important to know that Apple does no wrong, and every little thing they put out is the market leader. So I think it's very important to emphasize that.
Weren't they just approaching today a $3 trillion valuation? Apple, I think it was in the news today. I mean,
yeah, wow. With them forming their own bank, I imagine it's going to continue to grow.
Which, by the way, I have their checking account, and it's 4.15% interest on a checking account. So not too shabby.
So I know you guys mentioned it, and I've seen it, and I don't want to screw up your jam here, but the video you have of the training for the pods, Nick, I'm sorry, what do you call your sensory deprivation pods?
The flow pods, yeah.
Flow pods. That is impressive. I mean, it actually demonstrates. I don't know if you're prepared to show that, but it's really interesting to show the training in action.
Well, yeah, we're not going to show it during this demo, but we've been working with the Magic Leap 2 headset, and we have basically a character that is live in augmented reality, meaning I can put the headset on, a character comes into my office, I can communicate with that character in real time, right? As if you're having a conversation with the person. So the next stage of that, to Austin and Lyle's point earlier, is being able to now have a virtual environment that is syncing, where, you know, the avatar is now taking around a physical space. And that just adds the next layer of immersion.
Yeah, super cool. Thank you.
So a little bit about our business model. We basically have two slides here. One is sort of the Retreat VR app, which we talked a little bit about. And our goal was to have 10,000 subscribers in 12 to 18 months at basically, you know, $10 a month or $99 a year. And we're also now site licensing this to enterprise clients. And our estimate is 5,000 licenses sold for about $500,000 a year. Which brings us to about 12 to 18 months to profitability and 18 to 24 months to reach our target ARR. But I'll have Lyle jump in a little bit to just deep dive what that enterprise side looks like.
Yeah, do you want to go to the next slide, Nick?
Well, I was looking at the site licensing specifically.
Oh yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, because that is with our existing consumer app that is published on the MetaQuest storefront. But this is the enterprise version of our consumer app, which is essentially we're partnered with Arbor XR as well as Manage XR and Immersed. They're essentially the three largest mobile device management companies, MDMs, that are focused on working with Fortune 500 companies. They deploy the hardware. Typically it's VR headsets, although they are starting to do a lot more with Magic Leap and AR now. And essentially they are curating a marketplace and essentially becoming a sales arm for us to sell our content directly into the Fortune 500 companies that already own the hardware and are looking for, in our case, soft skills training for their employees. What's really nice about our content and why they're so excited about partnering with us is it's universal. Being that it is soft skills, it's around leadership, public speaking, managing teams, sales training, all of the things that are applicable for all companies, where most of the time when they're partnering with companies, they're very, very specific solutions. You know, as the kind of example that we mentioned previously, it could be a construction virtual reality company that they can only deploy that solution to the construction companies that they work with. So they are excited that we have a universal solution for their Fortune 500s.
And then go ahead. This was basically the enterprise vertical, and this is specific to what we're believing can be done with the Magic Leap launch for our Magic Leap training platform, and then the fully social VR training. But Lyle, do you want to jump in here too?
You could cover this one.
Yeah, so we kind of talked through this. So this is the AR AI enabled training platform. And what we're looking at is we really want to figure out ARR. So most of these are kind of what it would cost to like build a full white labeled version of someone's training program. So it's about, okay, actually going to a company, doing the research and programming a separate database essentially that is very specific knowledge that's needed to convey for that industry. And then to our points earlier, now you can walk around a physical environment, have key objects that the AI can now, interact with, can show you, and it's just a lot of customized development. We'd be fully scanning basically every location. So basically, if we rolled this out into a franchise with 500 locations, we'd actually send someone to these 500 locations, fully scan them, So then it's just this perfect synchronization between the training environment and what's actually being experienced. So you can imagine putting this in, an airplane. This could be basically in a factory. So these are about 250 to 700K build outs. And then we would amortize that cost likely over a 3 to 5 year contract with kind of like hosting fees on the back end. And so if anybody has any questions, really wants to see in detail the business model stuff, we can certainly get into that on a private call after this. So this is our raise currently. So we have raised just nearly $3 million in our $8 million seed round. We're actually in the process of securing 1 to 2 million in the next potentially 30 days. And we're lowering the round needs potentially by about 2 million. So we're looking for about another 1 or 2 million as part of this Series seed round. And we're very excited with the potential lead investor. We don't want to name names yet or anything like that. We're in the process of signing some term sheets and NDAs. But this is basically to scale everything we're talking about, fully flesh out the engineering team, and then to be able to fully develop and monetize our retreat app with Adil and Unify, and really have the proper budget now to do, a 5 or 10x. To Adil's point, they're able to 10x what was spent into actual revenue. And then it allows us to actually complete these pilot programs for Magic Leap, Meta, HTC, SEI, which is actually a private university that is looking for a solution that's fully mixed reality, but then potentially goes on the web for the practice score and iterate. So we can go to the next slide. And just real quick, some of the interesting things, there's some potential exits with both tech companies and education companies. We have some exciting things happening in these avenues. And most of these companies we are working with directly already, which is pretty exciting. Okay, we're almost out of time. So just to kind of open it up for Q&A, we can highlight some of the core team players. So we have a lot of great people on here. So you've met a lot of these people. We have Eddie Lee, who is a VR development consultant for us. He has a company called Functronic Labs, and they are producing some of the most popular games currently in the Meta Quest store. So he's been a great asset for us. We have Clem with digital marketing, Ryan Cassidy is some of our senior engineers, and we have a director of learning. So Henry Dotson has come from a lot of great companies, including StrongMind and Mathnasium. And so he has this perfect idea of where learning should go and how to implement it. So he's been really instrumental for us in terms of, okay, how do we merge wellness, education, and technology? But from there, I'll open it up to questions or Arthur, if he has any comments.
So are we able to, so forgive me for saying this out loud in front of everybody, but are we able to talk about the nature of the investment from a Meta? And it's
yeah, sure. So Meta was a grant, and that was a full grant with really no terms or strings attached, which apparently is extraordinarily rare. So that was a 400K grant. Meta gave us through the Immersive Learning Fund, which was basically a fund started by Mark Zuckerberg and his wife. And, that was very exciting for us. And I think we were one of the fastest greenlit apps, and were personally approved by Boz, who's their CTO, and then have been working with Rohan for about a year and a half, who was on this call earlier. So if you missed the beginning of the call, go ahead and watch it. But yeah, pretty exciting.
Yeah, and the nature of creating an avatar that's the replacement for a real trainer of trainer in the, let's just call it the metaverse or in virtual reality, does that by definition reduce the cost of somebody actually going through that as a person? I mean,
absolutely.
Yeah,
And
so I think that's significant, right?
It's extremely significant. And I'm talking to a couple franchise companies. So on our board of TrueRest is a guy named David Humphrey. And David Humphrey is essentially the head, I don't know what the title is, but the head of the nationwide franchising board. And we're talking with a couple franchises, not just TrueRest, specific to this Magic Leap project, where I have a friend that literally spends 85% of his time just flying around locations and training people on the same things over and over again. And what happens is in retail and franchising, there's a massive amount of turnaround right now with employees. So what this enables you to do is save about 85% of that time flying around. You can use this new solution, and then those people basically just need to do a checkup, after the training is complete. So it saves a lot of time for the trainers. I don't think this is necessarily, if people are concerned about disrupting or displacing jobs, the solution really isn't displacing jobs. It's just allowing you to be more efficient with your time. So in many cases, a lot of franchises are what's called ownagers. So they're owner managers. And this is just another thing you can take off their plate that they can focus their time somewhere else. And obviously, franchising is a huge, massive industry with tens of thousands of locations across the country. So if we can start implementing this training, of course, just through even a fractional percentage of those, it would be a pretty outstanding product offering.
So we've all experienced the challenges in traveling in airplanes, and allegedly there's some good reasons why the pilots are, the airlines are struggling to get pilots. Is this something that could replace and accelerate the pilots getting to the point where they can actually pilot these planes that are sitting in Arizona that could be otherwise used? Is that
I don't think currently it'll replace pilots, but it'll certainly down the road. Again, most of what we're doing right now is soft skills, but I don't see it too far down the road of being able to have a pilot training that, the dashboard of a specific plane is there's these things now, right? And they cost tens of millions of dollars for these flight simulators and things like this. I really think a haptic headset is going to replace some of this bulky equipment. And so you're not going to need a simulator. You'll be able to go into the airplane and then have a fully mixed reality experience of going through that airplane. Obviously, you want some simulator time. You don't want to take off on your first, flight as a pilot. But I mean, yeah, that's where all this is going, is the ability to fully streamline what used to be, these massive expenditures and literally just put it in a device that's this big. I mean, this is essentially a supercomputer. There's that analogy that, the phone in our hand is 100 times more powerful than the computer used to send someone to the moon. So, I mean, this is getting to a point where you have the neural network of all of humankind's wisdom, creativity, and intelligence now being implemented in real time before our very eyes. So it's a very exciting time to not only be alive, but be part of the team that gets to streamline and really redefine and rethink about, okay, what does education look like in 10 years? Are we going to have universities that cost $200,000 for a basic degree, or is that going to be all displaced? So it's an exciting time to be sort of a thought leader and a thought, or, an implementer in that industry.
Execution. Yeah. So in that you've reduced the amount of this ask and raise, it suggests that things are going well. You've raised $3 million, you reduced the amount of the raise. How soon should people, send money to get in before you close out the round?
Our goal is to close this round by the end of August. And, if we do it sooner, we do it sooner. But I would say it's a 60-day window. And we have some things I can't really talk about on this call, but I think that opportunity is going to be gone after August for various reasons. Either we'll finalize the raise, or there's some bigger potential merger and acquisition talks going on as well, which I can't get into details.
Yeah, of course. Super cool. Well, thanks for doing this. This has been, a really, really massive update from the last time we spoke. It's
Adil crushed the deck. So thank you, Adil.
Wow. It has his marks all over it.
I know he does.
Yeah, super cool. Well, thank you all for being here. Austin, thanks for joining. Good to see you guys again. and then we'll make sure everybody gets the details back and forth, and then do some follow-up, and then we'll reconvene as needed. And super grateful for having you guys. Thank you.
Awesome. It's our pleasure.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks so much.
You're welcome. As I always say, thank you for sharing with us the only thing you can't make more of, and that's your time. Till next time. Thanks, guys. Take care.